Several days ago, I made a video of a murderer who had been on the run for 13 years and was caught after getting on a TV dating show. In today's video, let's see a more dramatic case about a fugitive who had also been on the run for 13 years and was discovered after becoming a famous actor.
我曾经是一名演员，我对我的人生和我的经历总结有4句话：人生如戏，全靠演技，但有一条，守法遵纪。
There is a Chinese TV series called Lurk. It was the most popular drama in China in 2009. Many actors in this high-rated series became famous overnight, including a fugitive, Ji Shiguang. Ji Shiguang played an undercover who hid his true identity in the play. Because of his excellent performance in this series, he won the award for Best Male Supporting Role. In fact, his performance was not entirely dependent on acting skills, as he had been living under a disguised identity in real life. Let's start over with his childhood, and I'll call him Ji in the following video. Ji was born in an ordinary family in northeastern China in 1972. His childhood was unhappy. His father wasn't in a stable mental condition. He was an alcoholic and got angry all the time. Ji was beaten a lot by his father. During his school years, Ji's parents never attended parent-teacher conference or watched any play that Ji participated in the school. Their attitude towards him was very cold. Even after Ji graduated from university, he and his sister were often scolded by his father. Ji was always interested in acting. In school, he often participated in school performances and sometimes hosted programs. He looked forward to being an actor one day. However, his father didn't support him and often ridiculed his dreams, which made Ji very depressed. He desperately wanted to gain the recognition and love of others. After graduating from university, Ji didn't find a job to support himself, but instead met a group of so-called good friends. Ji thought they were very nice to him and cared about him a lot. These good friends were very generous to Ji. They hung out with Ji during the day but disappeared at night. One day, Ji proposed to go out with them at night. They agreed, so they went out together at night. But Ji never expected that what they did at night was robbery. After watching their entire crime, Ji, even if he didn't participate at the time, was also a co-offender. From then on, Ji completely joined the group, and his life changed forever. On December 6, 1998, Ji and 2 friends committed a robbery. It was around 7 p.m., and there were still some pedestrians on the street. They targeted a couple walking in a small alley without streetlights. The 3 of them quickly walked behind the couple. One of them grabbed the male victim's hair from behind, while another stabbed the man's chest with a knife. At this time, the victim shouted, "I am a police!" But his identity as a police officer didn't stop them. Instead, they stabbed the victim's back with a knife and robbed his gun. After that, the 3 of them took the female victim's purse and fled. Fortunately, the female victim was not hurt. The male victim was out of danger after emergency treatment, but he suffered permanent disability. He recovered from being able to move only one finger to being able to walk with a crutch.
对，始终是麻木的，就是我穿不穿这个裤子，感觉是一样的，跟穿和没穿都一个感觉。就是你用你手哈，你摸我腿，我感觉出来是你的手。
Robbing and attacking the police, this case was identified as a major robbery criminal case that year.
哎，你咋这么笨呢？你怎么打不过人家？别说你是英雄了，就感觉你像狗熊似的，你还是个刑警。 完了，你让人家把枪给抢去了，
你就是全国第一武林高手，你也不好使，就跟一个人掉井里的感觉一模一样，就咵就掉井里了，瞬间就底下就任何知觉没有。
Soon, 2 of Ji's friends were arrested and executed. However, Ji escaped and disappeared. According to Ji's confession after his arrest, at the time of the crime, he didn't hear the victims say he was a police. It was only after escaping that he found out that his accomplices had robbed a gun. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Ji left his hometown overnight and began his escape. First, Ji spent 500 yuan to buy a fake ID. He changed his name to Zhang Guofeng, but even with a fake ID, he was still afraid of being checked, so he didn't rent an apartment or stay in a hotel. He could only spend the nights in bathhouses because they didn't check the identity information of the customers. Gradually, he began to relax and rented an apartment, but he didn't dare to stay in one city for too long. He moved to another city every once in a while. During those years, he had stayed in Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Dongguan, and other cities. At the same time, he tried to get rid of his northeast accent and change his clothing style. To make money, he once sold socks on the streets and worked in a small bar. Later, during his work in the bar, the boss noticed that he was good at singing, and then Ji began to work as a singer in the bar. However, he didn't stay in each job for long. As soon as he heard any signs of trouble, or if the police wanted to check the identity information of non-local people, he would immediately flee to another city, even without getting his wages. Such a life made his income very unstable, and sometimes he even couldn't afford to eat. It wasn't until 2005 that he was introduced to acting by a friend. With a sense of luck, Ji boarded the train to Zhejiang and began his 6-year career in acting. At first, Ji was still worried about being recognized, but over the past 7 years, his appearance had changed. Besides, he was just an extra, and no one would notice him. Moreover, he would be wearing heavy makeup, making it even harder to see his true looks. Over time, Ji's concerns gradually decreased. Ji is talented in acting. Although he didn't receive professional training, his acting was recognized by some directors. Therefore, he gradually began to get bigger parts and became somewhat famous within the industry. Although he was in several popular TV series, his identity had never been revealed, and his career was better and better. In 2008, a production team found Ji and hoped that he could play a supporting role in a new series called Lurk. After reading the script, Ji was very interested. He knew that the script was excellent and the TV series would be huge. He loved the character he was cast as, but he also had a concern. Most of the TV dramas he filmed in the past were costume dramas, with complicated costumes and heavy makeup, making it impossible to see his original appearance. However, Lurk was a spy drama, and there was no heavy makeup for the actors, so he was worried that he would be recognized. But thinking of his successful experience of being unrecognized for 6 years of acting, coupled with his current appearance, which was very different from before, Ji took this part in Lurk. In 2009, Lurk was broadcast on major TV stations across the country, and it became a hit very soon. At the same time, the role played by Ji was also loved by the audience. With this role, Ji was also nominated as the Best Supporting Actor in the most authoritative TV series selection in China. Ji's remuneration as an actor also rose sharply. But at this time, Ji was uneasy. A famous actor invited him to develop in Beijing, but he refused. In this way, he had been an actor in Zhejiang for the next 2 years and kept a low profile in only taking small parts. However, eventually, he was still discovered. In May 2011, the police received a report that an actor named Zhang Guofeng looked very similar to the fugitive Ji. Receiving his report, the police immediately began to investigate. The police visited several film bases in Shanghai and Beijing, but didn't find an actor named Zhang Guofeng. Then they came to a film base in Zhejiang and found out that Zhang Guofeng worked there. Coincidentally, it was raining when they arrived. The scene couldn't be filmed in the rain, so all the staff was off on that day, and Ji rested at his rented place. Then the police rushed to Ji's residence. They knocked on his door on the grounds of registering household information. When the police entered the apartment and saw Zhang Guofeng, they felt that the person in front of them looked very different from Ji, who they were looking for. To confirm whether he was Ji, the police talked with him. During the chat, the police found that Zhang Guofeng, who said he was from Shandong province, didn't have a Shandong accent, but a northeastern accent. This made the police feel suspicious. Then, the police revealed their identity, saying they were from Ji's hometown. At this point, Ji realized that his identity had been exposed, and instead of resisting, he expressed his willingness to go with the police. In this way, Ji, who had fled for 13 years, was arrested and returned to his hometown. After interrogation, Ji confessed to the robbery.
当年就是李明和刘天鹏，
这个当时我同案抢枪那个地方，
囊杨林，刺伤杨林的地方，是不是？
伤害和抢枪我都没有参与，我只是随从。
当时杨林说我是警察，你没听着吗？
没听见，没听见。
拿出枪了，你
对，我才知道。当时我真的不知道他是那什么警察，不知道
当时他喊我是警察，你没听着是不是？
没有。
哦，你抢的什么东西呢？
抢了一个化妆包。
这是一个化妆包是吧？
对，
没有什么东西。
里面有一盒磁带吧？
有盒磁带，有点什么化妆品。
没有钱。
Later, in an interview, he told a love story.
我想给你讲个故事，这个故事呢可能有点煽情，但是我敢保证它是真实的。在横店影视城，有一个男的和一个女的相爱了，他们都是做演员的，男的30多岁，女的20多岁。然后呢，有一天，这个女的去拍戏了，这个男的在家。然后这女的就跟这个男的说：“外面好冷啊，我今天拍了一天的戏，好冷。”这男的就说：“那你明天来我这喝汤吧，我煲好了汤，给你御寒。”然后这女的就答应了。第二天，这个男的就煲了排骨玉米汤来等这个女孩。突然有人敲门，他开门，等到的不是这个女孩，是苦苦寻找了他13年的4位警官。
In the end, Ji was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and he was released from prison in 2019 through commutation of sentence.